Yeah, hi, how are you? And welcome to the Manatek Guru channel. And this is Akib. And in this lecture, I would like to tell you about what is forms and what is video tags and what is iframe tags and what is favicon tags. These all things I would like to elaborate it. And this might be a last video of my HTML tutorial. And look at here. Here, uh, if I run this code, just I'm adding one heading tag here. Welcome to website. So for time being, to make you understand. So when I go and run on my live server, you can see that this kind of text with the heading of welcome to website page. So as you can see here, the tab title of my document is displaying as a document. So when I go to YouTube and something like that, so when I go to YouTube, so the tab name it is printing YouTube. So as well as when I go to Amazon here, so the tab name it is printing here Amazon as it is, right? So if you want to give your own application name or your own tab name over there, you can modify here from document to instead of the within the title tag, you can give here any name as your name and just give me here app web. I'm reading app web. Okay, and after refreshing this web, and you can see this, my tab name has been rechanged from app web. So as you want, if you want to rechange any name, you can remodify that name as within the title tag, so which is instead of the head. And the next thing is I would like to discuss here about you is so and in previous class I forgot to tell you about the header section and main section and footer section by making it an example. And look at here as of now, before going into the topic, so when I search the YouTube here, you can see that one logo over there. So it is showing one red button and it is showing that one play button, as well as when I search on Google, it is displaying some small logo on the tab. So as well as when I search on my own web application, I would like to display some small logo over there or my own of my own logo when I search my web application. So if you want to search, when you search your own web application, if you want to display that own logo over there instead of displaying the world logo, so here you have to apply that Favicon links. So where it comes from means, so this is a link which we provide here. We'll copy this and you can gather it from any website or any reference website and just copy this link. And this is relation Arial is tells about the attribute and it is telling you about the icon. You're going to print an icon and it is telling you about the type. So the type which you're going to print here is image and icon, everything. So here I'm providing my local image relative image path. I'm copying this path here. I'm removing this path. So if you want to provide an absolute path, you can provide here. For the just finding, I'm providing here relative path. So this is my relative path. So these images within my HTML folder. No need to give this entire path. Just I'm removing this entire path and I'm saving this. And when I go to my live server, you can see here my logo. So whatever the image I would like to show over there, that logo is printing over there at my tab level, at my application level. So as it is, when you search your own web application, it will print that image over there. And when we come back here, so the next thing is, so we'll make it an example. I'll take you to the daily tracking notes. So here, as previous I taught you about the what is header section, what is main section, what is footer section, and what is a side attack this section about the introduction part. So I'll make it an example. How can we make a use and how can we make a use these three sections? And also parallelly I will tell you about these things also. And come back. I'll write some code to make it an example. Just I'm writing here header. I'm writing here header instead of the body header section. So instead of this header section, I'm writing here this is welcome. I'm writing some comment over there, welcome page. So I will include this within the heading tags. Okay, and after this I'll include one navbar tag. Navbar tag is nothing but I will make it an example and I'll go to Amazon website over here. And if you go to Amazon shopping website, you can see that here we have a header section part. So in header section part, if you have a search engine and you have some logos of related to Amazon. So when it comes to lower section, you have different kind of bestsellers, mobiles, today deals, prime, and these all things. And these all things are related to section called navbar. So navbar is nothing but if I click on that, it will redirect to that related page. And as these sections are related to navbar, so I'm including instead of the header, one nav tag bar. So instead of this nav tag bar, I will include my own page. I'm including some anchor tags instead of this. So a href, and I'm including hash home. Okay, and here I'm displaying that I'm texting here home here. And as it is, I will, when you go to the basic any website, you can see that home, services, contact, and these things. So as same as we'll include those things here to make it an example. So if you have any your own area, you can make it an example. So here I'm writing here, I'm texting here contact, and here as well I'm texting here services, and here I'm texting here social, or we can display here phone. okay, or not a phone. It's like products. Okay, so if you search any website, you can see these are the basic things which will be appear at the now bar section. So as same as I'm pointing the two same contact. So hash home means which will point to that same cursor. That cursor will point to same text. Okay, and that is the reason I'm mentioning here a hash. So if you want to mention any URI, you can mention any URL over there. And if you, I'm writing here contact, and also I'm writing here services, and as well as I'm writing here products. Okay, and got it. And we'll go back. We'll go back and we'll search about the we'll go back and we'll go back to our website and we'll search about this website. And you can see here, the this is a welcome page got printed, and you can see here we have a different anchor tags. So as a previous, you can observe here, this is just not looking like a header tag. So we can add a one background color to this header tag. Just I'm adding here one style attribute within the header part, instead of the header part section. I'm adding one style attribute. So as you want, you can add the style attribute for the independent tags also. So here I'm adding one style attribute for my header. So for this header, I would like to add some background color for this. Background color is a black. I would like to add black, and I would like to add some text color. My text color is a, I would like to add white, or I would like to add some, okay, I would like to, it's relatable white only. And after this, I'll save this, I'll go back to my love server, and you can see here, so it is added the one background color. So as we know that the headings and the anchor tags are, these headings are comes under the header tags. The header tags are the block elements. Which will occupy the entire bit space of your web browser. So these heading tags, these anchor tags, these comes under the header section. That is the reason these highlighting with the black colored text box. So as if you want it to highlight these text, specifically these anchor tags, if you want it to highlight with the white color, you can highlight it. Just I'm adding here style attribute, or else if you want to add here style attribute, here from here there itself we can add. Okay, from here I'm adding that style attribute. So look at here, I'm adding here one color called white color. I'm adding white color. Okay, and as same we'll maintain the same thing to the all anchor tags, which will be look at better level, which you can look in a better level. So as we have made some mistake here, just have a look on this. uh, yeah, we have missed one semicolon over there. Yeah, as it is, if I run this code and if I go back to my last server, you can see that this text, my anchor text got highlighted with the white one. And if you want this to center it in a middle part, so you can say that text align. You can say that text align, you can call it as center. So when you are saying that to the header part, so whatever inside of the header container, so instead of my header container I have a heading tags, I have anchor tags. So these heading tags, these anchor tags will be aligned at my center. So you can see that, so these heading tags, this page and this everything is got aligned at my center of my width space. And you can come back and here home, and if I press on home, it will point to the same point, it will point to the same cursor, you can see here. And if I press on contact, it is pointing to the same cursor. And if I press on services, it is pointing at the same cursor, same services text. And if I point these products, it will point to the same products cursor. And if I want this to maintain some spaces in each between these anchors, so from that I can mention that specifically to the anchor tags, I can mention here margin. Here I can mention margin. So margin I can mention here, for margin I can write here 0, 10 pixel. Okay, so let me check this. I will include these all margin for all anchor tags to maintain some spaces from each and each for each one. Here I'm not teaching you guys CSS. Just it is related to CSS, but I'm not teaching entire level of CSS. Just I'm making an example of header, how it can be a footer, how it can be a main section, everything. And you can see here. So when I apply the margin, so it is maintaining the some spaces, 10 pixel of spaces for each and every anchor tag. Okay, and here we can maintain one main section. Here I'm writing one main section. I'm including one main tag here. So instead of this main tag, I will write some headings. And I'll write a heading 3 tag, and this is, I'll write some comment. This is content page. Okay, and after this main, instead of this main tag, I will include some content, or I will include some para. to make you understand. If you want to insert any images, if you want to insert any audio, video, books, or anything, you can add it here insert within the main tag. So here I'm importing some lorem uh, random lorem para here. So I'll save this. If I go to the live server, you can see that my content have been displayed over there. So I will prepare one footer section over here below this main content. I will write here footer section, and below this footer section I will write one thing. I'll write here it's I'll write here one para at the rate of so at the rate of copy is nothing but which will print one logo at the rate of logo. Okay, you can see this is a logo. So this logo is related to copyrights. Got it? And this related to this logo is related to copyrights. We can later we'll add this one background color to this photo section. For the time being, I'm adding here copyright section. Copyrights section. So I'm adding here follows and more and everything. If as you want, you can add it. Just I'll say back and I'll go back to my love server. You can see that copyright section and that's not section. It's like a copyrights. It's just so here if you want to add the same background color. So what I have added to the header. So for header you can see that I have added one background color called black. So same thing I would like to add for my footer section. For that what you have to do here is again you don't have to write and again you don't have to write footer again and again footer like this. Again you don't have to open like this. So just simply if you want to apply the same styling you can add here. You can apply here. You can apply here comma footer. Okay, you can apply here footer. So whatever the styling you are applying for the header, this same kind of styling you are applying for footer too also. So from that you can get to know how it is working. And go to the live server, you can say that you can see that this is a footer section. So as you want, you can add any content here. So here I'm adding some content at my footer level. I'll go back and I'll add some content at my footer level. I'll write some content like this. I'll write some para, and this is services section, and I'll add some BR tags, and I'll add one more para again here, and follow. I'll say that follow us on, and after this I can add some images, and I'm not adding. This is your homework and you have to do this. I'll go back to live server. You can see this copyrights, and this is this service section follows on more, and this is mostly related to a real life application of Amazon website. You can see here this is a header section, this is a navbar section, and you can scroll this. If you scroll this, and this is a footer section, and these kind of website if you see, and if I go to my user defined my custom website, this is mostly relatable. So this section is supposed to be at the bottom. We'll do it later, and you can see this, and this is how the now bar section got created. And this inside of this content, if you want any images, if you want any videos and audios, you can import here. You can write by writing the code, you can design your website. So this is how a footer section and now bar section and main section we will be designing using these tags. Got it? I hope you understand how it will be working. And after that I'm taking off this, and just I would like to cover some of the topic about the forms. So I'm removing this for the time being. I'm removing this. I hope you understand about this footer and what is header section and everything and all. And I'm removing this all. And just now I would like to tell you about forms here. So forms is nothing but when you go to any website. So let's say that I'll go to any website. I'll go to some website. So let's say that I would like to register or sign in. I would like to sign in. So if I go to sign in, it will ask you that basic details. So enter a email, enter a password, or else if I go to Facebook, if I go to Facebook website, if I go to sign in and login, it will ask you the basic details. It will ask you that enter email, enter password, these things. So these are the things which will be created by the forms tab. Okay, so we'll go back to the Visual Studio. We'll go back to Visual Studio, and we'll write the forms tag here. So forms tag, within the forms tag, I will write some labels. I'll create some input types. I'll say that enter username or enter name. I'll just say that enter name. So after this, I will create one input type to create such kind of box. What I have shown you in the Facebook. To create such kind of box, we have to write one tag called input type. Input tag. So inside of this input tag, you have to include one attribute. So within this attribute, you will be having some different properties. You have different kind of properties like button, checkbox, color, date, and images, password, everything which is related to type attribute. So here I would like to include only name. So for that name, you have to write one. We have to include one a property called text. And for instead of this input tag, you have to write name equal to I'm writing some name. So why we have to maintain this name attribute means, so as when we are dealing with the real world web application, so this name I think you have studied about the in Java key value pairs. So this is like a key value. So whatever the name I will give here, whatever the value I will insert here, these value will be collected by that your server at the backend side using this name, using this name. So if you don't have this name, your server will confuse which content should import. Okay, whatever the name I will provide here, that kind of name will be collected by using the one key. This is like a key. This will act like a key. Okay. I hope you understand how it is working. I'll make you understand. No need to worry about that. So here I'm saying that. Here I'm saying that. Here I will say that password. Enter password. Enter password. Here again I'm creating the same input tag over here. Here the type is password. So what are the things you're mentioning here? So what are the type of what type of content you're storing over there? That type of property you have to mention. So let's say that here I would like to enter some password. So that kind of property you have to mention. So what if you don't mention? It will act like some different values. So let's say that I will close this. So instead of this form container, you have two kind of boxes. So when I go to live server, you can see that name and password everything. So look at here, I'm entering some name like AAKHIB, and after that I'm entering some password. So my password is admin at the rate of 123. So you can see here my text is not we couldn't able to see because of the type here. Because of the type here, the type we have provided here password. What if I don't provide the password over there? I would like to provide some text. I would like to provide some text here. So if I provide the text over that input box, it will display. It will display. Look at here again. I'm mentioning it again. It will display. It will display instead of it is behaving like a password box. It will behave like some normal text box. So that is the reason we maintain the type properties. So what are the type you want to, what are the information, what are the data you would like to store, that same kind of data you have to maintain over there at all time. Got it? And this is how the forms is created. And the next thing is, you can see here, when I click on this enter box, my cursor is not blinking on my box. Means my cursor is, when I click on this enter name, my cursor is not pointing to my box. So as well as when I click on this enter password, my cursor is not pointing to my cursor is not pointing to this box. So for that, we should create the labels for that. So labels is nothing but when I press on some letters, my cursor should start to ask some input values from the user. So for that we have to maintain labels. So label. So label is nothing but for, I'm writing for is attribute. So it is like an ID. Just imagine I'm writing your name. So, okay. So to call this label, instead of your input tag to call this label, you have to call with us. You have to call with this name. So to call that, we have an ID. We have an attribute called ID. So what is the name of this label? Name, right? So that same kind of name you have to provide here. So you can ask me the doubt here. So is it matter? Is it same name we have to maintain at all time? No. Yeah, you can give your own name. You can give your own user defined names. So whatever the names you will provide here, you have to call with that name over there, over here. Got it? And same labels will maintain here. And this time I will take off this, and I hope you will show I can show the difference. What is the difference between labels and without labels? Here I'm saying that pass. So as I told you that we can write here our own names also. So there is no need to maintain as it is those names, whatever these providing by default. So if I want to call this label instead of this input tag, here I have to call with the ID attribute, and instead of this ID attribute I have to call with that name, same name. So go back to live server, you can see that. So here I haven't provided the text. That is the reason it is not printing any text over there. Just a minute. So instead of this label, you have to give some name. And here within this label tag, you have to write here password. Okay. So enter. I will ask this enter name. I'll reframe this to enter name. That from that you can make clear. And here also I will ask the user enter name. So I'll go back to live server. You can see that enter name and enter password. So it won't make much difference from without labels and label. It will make the difference. Look at here. If I click on this text, you can observe the difference here. My cursor is started to blink. My cursor is started to ask the input from the user. So as well as when I click on this enter password, you can see that my cursor is started to point, and it is started to ask the inputs from the user. It is ready to accept input from the user, and this is how the label works. So this will helpful to all handicapped persons, those who couldn't able to point, those who have a low vision, those who have a poor vision. They will just simply press on the text, and it will point. It will start to read the text along with the. It will start to point that cursor inside of that box, and this is how we use the labels. And it is very good practice to maintain the labels. Got it? And and below these labels, if you see here, when we go to Facebook website, when we go to Facebook website, when we go to Facebook website, you can see here instead of the Facebook website, it is asking email password, and it is asking some login button. Okay, you can imagine it is like a login button. You have a some create new button. So if you want to create this such kind of button as it is, we can create as it is. So look at here. So if you want to create a button, you have to write here input, same input tag, and for that you have to write here type attribute, and here what you have to do here is you have to write here submit button. Okay, and I'm giving value to my button, just submit or click, or okay, I'm writing here submit. Okay, so when I go back to my live server, you can see here you got this submit button. So when I click on this, it won't point to any application, or it won't point to any page, because we haven't redirected we haven't redirected it with any page. Okay, it is pointing to the same page. Got it? So if you want it to point it to the next page, so look at here, as if you are entering some name here. Okay, so if you enter some name and if you enter some password, so after entering some password, if you press on login here, so after pressing on login, it will enter your related account page. So if you want to perform such kind of actions over here, you can perform here as well. Look at here, if I click on submit, stuff submit, I'll provide here login. It will make some sense over there. Login, and I'll maintain here VR tags, which will bring my boxes to the next line. So if I go back to the live server, you can see that these boxes is most relatable to my Facebook page. So you can see here, if I press on login, I have to connect it to my next page, like it as well as. So to perform the such kind of action, instead of these forms, you have to write here. You have to write here action, and you have to write here one page name. Okay, and here you have to write method equal to, so you would like to post these values, or whatever the information you are sending, through these boxes, those information should go back to your another page. To send those values to your another page, we have to use post, and this will hide your data without leaking it to your URL through URL. Okay, and here I will just for time being, I'm not providing any URL or any password, any URL link, any API link. Just I will create some local HTML page only, and instead of this same HTML document, I will create a new page called test.html. Okay, so instead of this HTML page, we'll create one boilerplate code first. So instead of this boilerplate code, I'll say that login successful, Okay, after login successful, and I'll say that para, I'll print some comments. This is your account. This is your account. Okay, so I want to link this page. When I click on submit. So you can say that here you can perform the action called test. When you click on submit, when you click on login submit button, it will perform the action. It will redirect to this page. Okay, so test dot will redirect to this test.html page. Okay, and we'll go back to live server. We'll check for that. So here I'm entering some basic name AAKHIB, and here I'm entering some password. I'll click on login button. It is not performing any action over there. The reason is, you will go back to Visual Studio Code here. Here we have method is spelling mistake. Let me check over here again. Here I'm writing AAKHIB. Let me click on login. So it is not performing any action. It is not redirecting to my web page. So the reason is, here we have to write submit button instead of writing button. Here I have to write submit button, and we'll go back and we'll check for that. So you can see that this test HTML page haven't got printed. Actually, the inside of this test.html, we have that this kind of content. Which content? We have one heading login successful. This is your account. So for that you don't have to host that in a live server. You have to host in a default server. Live server is which is only sticking only with one HTML page. It won't relatable to all the pages. It means that it will work for only one HTML page. It won't work for all HTML pages. So to make it an example, I'm executing in a default browser. So I'll type here some name. Let me write here some AAKHIB. Okay, I'll write some ADMIN123 password. Okay, so I log in. The button here is, so you can see that after login, you can see the my test.html page login successful. This is your account. So you can see that from this URI test.html page is got redirected. This is how you can link the page from one page to another page, and this is how the forms will work indirectly. Okay, where it is, and this is how the forms will work indirectly. Okay, when you go back to Visual Studio Code, so if you want to, after submitting your data, if you want to redirect it to the another page, you have to give that desired page, the destination page over here. So you have to give here method attribute, and you have to give here post. So when you go to the JSP files, when you go to the JSP topics, when you go to the Java server pages, you can get to know what is the use of method. Okay, and for the time being, just maintain post method and everything. What I have taught you in this form section. After that, you might have seen that in these Amazon. We'll go to Amazon website here. In Amazon website, you might have seen this. So when I click on this, let's make it an example. So look at here. When I click on this, it is started to print. It is started to show one mini list, right? So it is started to show some mini links and everything at all. So if you want to, and also if you go to any government websites, so it will ask you to enter some random locations. Or it will ask you to enter your state and everything. So if you select that box, it will keeps on showing some setup sub options like Andhra Pradesh, like Maharashtra, Delhi, and you will start to see Karnataka, you'll start to see Tamil Nadu, which state you are belonging from. So if you want to create such kind of action within the box, you have to use the select tag. You have to use the select tag. Look at here. For that I'm using here select. I'm using select tag here. So within select tag, I'm creating. I'll write here one name. I'll write here state. Okay, and for the select tag, I'll maintain one label. Okay, and within this label, enter select state. I'll say that select state. Okay, and I'll say that for this label I'll maintain one for attribute to identify this label. I'll say that state. So with this label I'll call here with the id. This same name you have to call over there. Okay, to work for that, to attach this label with this state tag. So here state. Okay, and here within this state tag, within this state select tag, you have to provide some mini options. So instead of this option you can write here value equal to ap, or you can say here ap, or you can say here ANDHRA Andhra Pradesh. You can say here AP simply, and also we can create the n number of options as you want. Okay, and I'm just for the time being I'm copying this. I'm copying this, and I'm pasting some sub options over there to create some states. And here I'm typing that Telangana. Here I'm writing HYD, or I'm writing TEL Telangana, and also I'm writing here Tamil Nadu. I'm writing here TM simply. I'll say here Tamil Nadu, and here I will type Delhi, and here as well I'll type Delhi, and here I will go with UP. I'll say that UP. Okay, so when you go back to this live server, we haven't uploaded it in live server, and we'll start to implement it in live server. We'll go with live server. So you can see that you have that select state. So if I click on this drop down button, you can start to see that different kind of states. So AP, Telangana, Tamil Nadu, Delhi, Uttar Pradesh. So if you select this one, it will select that one, and if you want to submit this state, it will submit by you within your along with your forms. So also what I meant to say here is this label you can mention within the forms as well. So I'm copying this. You can paste it within the forms as well. I'm including this within the forms. Okay. At last, you can include this submit button inside within your forms as well. So here, go back to your live server, and you can see that this login button it should supposed to be get at my last, right. To get it at my next line, you have to give here BR tag. You have to give here BR tag. If you go back to live server, you can see that login button have here, and we can provide the name, and you can provide the password. You can select your desired state, whatever which state you are belong from, and you can after selecting can do a login. Okay, and this is a text.html. We are not initiating in a default browser. We are initiating in live browser. That is the reason we haven't got it. And we go back. This is all about the forms, and this is all about the select option, which we use the most. And the next thing is if you want to you might see that while building some application, while filling some forms, you might see that which gender you belong from, whether you're belonging from male gender, whether you're belonging from transgender, female, or lesbian, whatever it may be. So if you want to create such kind of radio buttons, yes, you have to write here again label. So instead of this label, you have to write here male. Okay, I'm writing here gender, I'm writing it simply. I'm writing here gender. So for this for this label, I can attach it to my different kind of inputs. So for that, I'm writing here input button, and here I'm writing here type, and here I will say that radio button. I can get to know what is a radio button. No need to worry about that. So I'm writing here ID, and for this ID, I'm writing here gender. Okay, and for this label, I'll say that it's not a gender, it's a male. I think I'll say that male only here. Radio gender, and if I'm saying here male. So as it is, I'm copying the same thing here. I'll say that female. Here also I'll say that female. I'll go to this live server. You can see that you got the different kind of inputs here. So you can observe that we have got the male label, we have got the female label. So if I click on this label, it is selecting my different kind of options. Okay, so if you belong from male, you can select this option. If you belong from this female, you can select this option. Got it? And the next thing is you can mention it. That's it, I think. Okay, also you can mention these labels within the uh, here you can mention another label. Here also you can mention another label as well, as per your choice. Got it? And here I'm writing gender. Here also I'm writing gender. Gender. I'll save this program. I'll go back to my last server. You can see that. So this is how we can select, and as you want, you can make that any kind of radio button. So we usually call it as a radio buttons. So based on your choice, you can create such kind of boxes as well. So I'm removing this. So I hope you got this use of these labels and the radio buttons, the types and everything. Select button, and after that we have one thing called we have one thing called the last concept of our HTML. We have one thing called div section. Div section. Okay, I have taught you everything here, inline elements and block like elements and everything. If you want to explore about the inline elements and block elements particularly, and go and search in internet and just get to know what which elements is belong from block elements and which elements is belong from the inline elements. Here I would like to here in this lecture I would like to elaborate it about div section. So div section is we use within the div section we use that class attribute. Also we use that ID attribute mostly. So as per saying theoretically you won't understand. So let me make it an example with a one diagram. I'll go back to paint interface. Let's say that you are studying in a college. Okay, so you are studying in different branch. Let's say that you are studying in CSC branch. Okay, so almost this is like a class. Okay, you have a different kinds of classes. So obviously CSC might be not a one section. So CSC might be a it can might be a different sections. It can probably a CSC 1, CSC 2, CSC 3. It can probably a three containing a three sections. So instead of take a one section of CSC, and instead of CSC you have a different students. You have a different students. So make it an example. These circles is representing the students here. So imagine each student have a different unique ID. Each student have a different unique ID. Okay, each student have a some different unique ID. Like ID, I'm writing just I'm representing it with the ID. So if you want to represent it with the any number, you can represent it. Okay, so imagine this student name is this student ID is 101, 102, 103, 104, and so on. So imagine this section is a belonging from CSC. CSC. Okay, so as a part, why I'm saying this story is we mostly relating it this type of concept to my div section. Div section. Got it? So look at here. I'll make it an example. So the ID can be unique because of whatever the ID you are giving to the first student. The same kind of ID number you cannot give to the second student, as well as whatever the ID number you are giving to the second student, same ID number you cannot give to the third student. So as well as whatever the section name you are giving to the class, the same section name you can give to the another class. But what you are observing here is what I would like to tell here is ID cannot be duplicated. ID we use ID for the unique purpose. Okay, and but section name is whatever the section name CSC. So for this same section name I can give to the section 2. I can this same CSC name I can give to my CSC 3 candidates which they are belonging from. Okay, so here the class name can be duplicated. So, but ID name cannot be duplicated. If you look at whole of the if you look at whole of your classes, ID is maintaining a uniqueness. So, which will identify particular tag, which will identify particular element of your HTML. Okay. So here by relating it with the div tag, I will say that class and ID purpose attributes, purpose of those attributes. I'll go back here. Let's say that I'm removing these forms. I hope you understand what is the purpose of forms here. I'll remove these all. Look at here. I'll say that. So look at here. What I would like to say here is about div section, right? So here I'm declaring div section. So div is like a container. So if you go to the paint interface, so it is like a container. It is like a class. Instead of class, we have many IDs, right? So instead of div section, you can have many elements. You can have heading element, and instead of heading element, this is I'm writing content page, and within this container you might have some different kind of paras and headings, whatever you have to import it. So I'll rephrase it in different candidates. Just a minute. Yeah. So imagine you have this kind of div section within here. Within this, let me create these kind of div section multiple times. I hope you will. I will make you understand. So look at here. Within this div section, if you go back to live server, you can see here this is a content page. This is a content page. I'll say that. This is a content page 1, and I'll say that this is content page 2, and I'll say that this is a content page 3. Okay, we'll go back to live server, and if you see here, this is the content. This is the entire thing which is belonging from div 1, and this is the entire thing which is belonging from div 2, and this is the entire thing which is belonging from div 3. Let's imagine this is an entire container which is like a CSC1, and this is the entire container which is like a CSC2, and this is the entire container which is like a CSC3. Instead of the CSC1, you have two elements called heading tag and para tag, as well as this is a maintaining the same. So if I inspect this, you can see that the first div tag is instead of the first div tag you have a heading and lorem. You can see that instead of this second div tag you have this is a heading page 2 lorem, and this is the inside of this container 3 you have a heading page lorem, as well as what I would like to say here is I will relate it. I'll relate this div tag. I'll relate this with the div tag with the class attribute with the ID attribute. So as I told you that ID will maintain the uniqueness, class will maintain the won't maintain the uniqueness. So let's say that I'm writing here class. Let's say that I would like to add some color to this div tag. Then what would you do? So then you have to use that. Then you have to use that class equal to I'll say that box, or I'll say that CSC1. I'll say that CSC. Okay. Here as well I'll say that class equal to CSC. And here also I'll use one attribute for this div section called class equal to CSC. Got it? And what I would like to say here is, so using this class I can maintain one design for this all containers. So look at here. I would like to bring a background color and particular text color for this container. As same as what are the same decoration, what are the same designing I'm doing for this. Same styling I would like to do for this and for this also. So for this you have to write that style attribute. You have to include a style attribute over here. So here you have to include that. So what is your class name here? So your class name is CSC, right? So to call that class name, you have to call with the dot. You have to call with the dot CSC. Dot CSC, open a bracket, open a flower bracket, not a circular bracket, open a bracket. So let's say that if you want to add some background color like black. So here I would like to add some background color. So background color I would like to add black. So text color I would like to add white. Okay. So here after adding these six kind of all of the things. So whatever the class with whatever the class name I have here, like CSC. So I'm calling that class name with a dot symbol. So if you instead of dot symbol, if you call with the hash symbol, if you call with the dollar symbol, it won't be applicable. Okay. So this CSC I'm giving to my second container. I'm giving to my third container as well. So whatever the styling I'm doing here, this same kind of styling will be applicable to these all three containers. Because of why why because I'm maintaining the same class name here. I'm maintaining the same class name here. Okay. So if I say this, if I go back to live server, you can see that these all containers is sharing the same style, is sharing the same color, is sharing the same decoration. Got it? So as I told you that class can be maintained without uniqueness, but ID can be maintained with the uniqueness. So what if I mention here CSC1? What if I mention here? What if I mention here CSC2? What if I mention here CSC3? And if I mention here CSC1? If I say this program, and if I say that CSC1, what will happen? It will be applicable only for the container one. It won't applicable for the container two, rest of the two containers. So if you want to apply, same kind of styling, whatever the same kind of styling to all the containers, you can maintain the same name for all due sections, for all due sections. Got it? So particularly if you want to mention, particular color, then you have to provide that ID. Let's say that let's say that let's say that uh, let's say that so as I told you in this picture, class can be duplicated, ID cannot be duplicated. So let's say that if you want to bring this container some unique name, some some unique color. If you want to bring this container some unique color, if you want to bring this container some unique color. So on those cases, we have to provide that ID. So let's say that I'll include these one due section for all over these sections. I'll say that class class equal to CSC. Okay, I'll close this. I'll close this all due section. I'll close this due section at the end of here, at end here. Okay, let's say that I'm supposed to close here. I'm closing here. So I can say that instead of the CSC, I'm removing this all, and I'm removing this one. So it means that you have created a class, you have created one big container, you have created one big container. Instead of big container, instead of the big container, you have a one small mini containers, small mini three containers, mini containers like this. Okay, that is what I would like to tell you here. So what's the main container name is CSC. So here I will maintain here CSC name. Here I have named to this box as CSC, CSC, CSC. Okay, so if you want to particularly bring this box in a different color, if you want to style this box with like a different color, if you want to style this box in a different color, then you have to write one attribute called ID. So let's say that I'm writing here ID equal to CSC1. I'll say that ID equal to CSC2, and let's say that I'll say that ID equal to CSC3, CSC3. Okay, so let's say that if I apply the background color for this, what will happen? It will applicable. So if I apply the background color to the CSC only, it will apply for my all of these boxes. So if I apply by calling the dot collector, and instead of this style attribute, instead of the style tag, if I call with the dot CSC, if I design some stylings, if I include some background color, if I include some colors, text colors, it will be applicable to these all boxes, right? So we'll do the same thing here. I'll go back and I'll say that to my code. Here I'll say to my code, I'll say that CSC. So what will happen? So the same kind of boxes, same kind of color styling will be applicable to these all div sections. So you can go back to live server. You can see that this is a container page, and here we haven't seen any white spaces between each container because of this CSC. This is page one, page two, page three is belonging from the same container. Okay, so particularly if you want to bring this page one, some different color, and particularly if you want to bring this page some different color, then you can go with the ID. So what is the ID here? ID here CSC1, right? So I would like to bring this CSC1 some different color, some different background color. Then you have to go with here. You have to use here to call this ID. To call this ID attribute section, you have to use here hash, okay, hash CSC1, and open the bracket and just add some background color. I am adding some background color. I am adding some aqua color. Okay, and you can go back and you can see that. So within the same container, I have bought my CSC1 container, or I have bought my page one container with a different color. As well as within the same container, if you want to bring the CSC3 section container in different color, so you can go back, you can go back and you can call with the CSC3. So what is my CSC3 name? So my section, my third container name is CSC3. To identify this section, we have an ID called. What's the ID here? My ID is CSC3. So to identify that section, I have ID called CSC3. I'll call with the CSC3. I'll add some background color. The background color is I'm bringing it in a red color. Okay, if you go back to the live server, you can see that uh, uh, aqua color, black color, and brown color. Okay, it is in different color, but I might know, I don't know that what's the exact color. So you can see the different colors. You can explain the different colors, but it is belonging from the same container. If I inspect this, you can start to see that when I point to my main due section CSC, you can see that it is pointing to my all boxes. It is covering my all boxes. It means that these page 1, page 2, page 3 is coming under the same container. When I point to the CSC1, it is pointing individually. And when I point to main container, it is pointing all my three sections. Because of this, the page 1, page 2, page 3 comes under the same container. So I'll go back. And so to identify your ID specifically, to identify your section specifically, we will provide the ID attribute. Okay, and what if I give the multiple ID names, multiple same ID names? So what are the ID name I have given here? I will maintain the same ID name here. I'll maintain the same ID name here. Then what will happen? Let's say that. Let's have a look on this. You can see here, when I provide the same ID name, you can observe that it is providing the same color to my all of the boxes. So the ID name which we provide for this, the ID name should be unique at always. Always it should be unique. Okay, we should not give that same ID names for all kind of boxes. Okay, and also the next thing is we have a for ID attribute we have a higher specificity. Higher specificity is nothing but having a higher priority than my class attribute. So at always, instead of the CSC section, if you want to specifically if you want to design for that particular section, you have to give that particular ID for that section. You have to give that particular ID for that section. So by identifying that ID, you can design whatever the styling you want to do. That kind of styling you can do over there. So yeah, I'm changing it from CSC2 and CSC3 as it is in the previous position. Okay, so this is like a child. This is like a student. This view is like a CSC3 student, and this view is like another student. This view is like another student. So this is under CSC3 section. So if you want to change, if you want to modify on a particular student, you can call with his ID. Okay, this is all about the div section. So based on, I hope you this section will be ended in the nice format, and you have got the nice experience from me. And I'll get some. I'll say that some of the attributes used here. So look at here, you have a lang, right? A lang attribute. So lang attribute English. So en means it is standard for English standard English format. So you might see that metadata tags here. So metadata is nothing but the data about the data. So UTF is it is following some standards. Okay, we don't have to study about this. We don't have to go brief about this. No need to study briefly about this. Just it is asking, it is saying that data about data. So how much the viewport should be and how much the content width device should be, how much the initial scale should be. It is saying and it is elaborating at everything. Okay, you can modify the your web page also here as you want, and here also if you want to provide any favicon images as I shown you in previous, you can provide anything. Okay, this is all about HTML concepts. So if I left with any concept, you can comment me out in the description box, and I will try to do that so also. And thank you for listening my lecture, and do subscribe. Thank you.